For USCFootball.com, I'm Keely Eure here with Dan Weber. Instant analysis of the Tuesday practice leading up to the Texas game. Usually we see a very physical Tuesday practice, and we still did, but coming out of the Stanford game, the Trojans are a little banged up. We didn't see Marlon Tuipulotu. He was rehabbing. Daniel Imatorbhebhe, Porter Gustin, John Houston, all those guys were out or very limited today.
Yeah, I mean, John, I guess had the most he went through the pre-practice kind of stuff. And then they held him with a stinger, kind of a neck issue. I don't know that we're going to see Daniel this week at all. No. I mean, he doesn't look like he's getting ready. Porter, they said, spent the whole practice inside rehabbing, which makes sense with Porter. I mean, that's what he's going to do. He's got two issues. He's got the shoulder that they MRI'd, although when we talked to him after the game, you wouldn't have known that there was a shoulder issue. And he also has a toe issue that they're still trying to diagnose. So we didn't see him at all. Mm-hmm. And Marlon, they didn't, no brace on, no ice, no nothing, just a slight limp. So we saw a lot of Brandon Peely in there at nose today with the second group. So I think they're fortunate there. They've got somebody to step in, and we're seeing an awful lot of tight end of Josh Fallow and Eric Cremino. The two freshmen are they're getting their their time with the first team. They're getting targeted, and they were very, very pleased about Josh on the block he got on the 52-yard Stephen Carr run. So he earned himself some playing time. I think they're real pleased with what they're seeing with the young guys.
Mm-hmm. Helton was a little vague when talking about Porter Gustin's injury because it's not just a neck or a shoulder issue, it's also a toe issue, which he said doctors will evaluate later in this week. He's day-to-day, but Helton wasn't very sure about whether we'll see him. They're going to reevaluate him later. Is there any concern there at all?
Yeah, I think there was concern from me about the toe.
Yeah.
I just didn't think it didn't sound like he wanted to go there.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sound like they absolutely know for sure. At least the one good thing, not for Porter, but for Daniel, is they say absolutely they do know exactly what the injury is, exactly what the muscle is. It's not a tear. It's not healing. They know exactly where it is. They've MRI'd it a couple of times. So I think that's a good start if you at least know absolutely what it is you're dealing with. With Porter, Clay said he'd update us later in the week about the toe. So, we don't know.
Mm-hmm. We got to talk to the offense today. The general consensus was it was a statement to come into the Coliseum and run the ball like they did against Stanford. Tyson Helton said it was kind of hard to bite the bullet a little bit, but they were able to do it, especially in the beginning in that 3rd and 4.
Yeah, I think the bite the bullet moment was you run Rojo and he gets 3. You run him again, he gets 3. You're down at your own 31, I guess it was. And now you got 3rd and 4. And as Tyson said, we went over what we've done the last 3 years against them, and 3rd and 4, we're normally going to throw the ball. And we wanted to say, we're not. And we're going to run it. They ran it. They got 7 yards out of Rojo. Might have been the key play of the whole game. And he said, I think that made Stanford uneasy. He didn't know what to think because you've got a really good quarterback. You've got the ability to throw the ball, and yet you lined up and you just ran it right at him and got that first down. I think that was an absolute statement of all the plays in the game. And I asked Tyson and I asked T. This is a big feeling of mine is if this USC team can line up and run the ball on you, they're probably going to beat you because they're going to be able to throw it. If they can run it, they're going to be able to throw it. I asked Tyson, do you agree? And he said, absolutely. If we can run it, they're going to be able to throw it. I mean, so the big deal is you can line up and just push them off the ball, push them off the line of scrimmage, and get Rojo and Stephen Carr and Vavai and Cedric, all of them just they ran I think 26 first down runs. Didn't have a losing yard. I mean, they didn't lose a yard on any one of those running plays the entire game. The only time they lost a single yard, the only tackle for loss was with Sam almost got back to the line of scrimmage on one scramble where he was moving around and didn't quite escape. But that was it. Their running game, nothing. I mean, Stanford just couldn't do what Stanford does.
Mm-hmm. On the other hand, though, we talked to Sam Darnold, who said the long ball with the receivers does need work. We saw them kind of working on it today. We also saw the return of Michael Pittman. He looks pretty healthy, and that should help with the wide receiver chemistry.
No question. Sam, the long ball is just what Sam does is he gets the ball quickly to who's ever open. He throws those laser darts here. With the long ball, he does have to change the trajectory. He has to change the angle of his throws. He's got to throw it up, put air underneath it, let him run to it. That isn't his. He doesn't have the arm, let's say, of a right fielder who's trying to throw the ball in from the fence to the plate. He's got the arm of a catcher who's trying to throw that guy out at second base. He's got that quick boom, and so it's an adjustment for him. And right now, for example, Stephen, as great as Stephen Mitchell was playing, he does not have that kind of speed that he had when he was younger, before he had the 2 knee injuries. Deontay Burnett, he's unbelievable route runner, unbelievable getting open. He's not going to be somebody you're going to put in the 100 meters. And not to downgrade, he's plenty fast, plenty quick, just not that kind of super burner quick, and they haven't figured out how exactly to get somebody like, say, a Velus Jones or whatever loose deep. That hasn't happened yet. But it's good to see that they keep working on it, because it's a long season.
Mm-hmm. A mini controversy, if you will, was kind of brewing over the weekend involving Ronald Jones with a hand motion he made at his last touchdown, I believe, at the Stanford game. Someone said that it was a horns down, meaning, I don't know, trash talking Texas, but those who knew Ronald Jones knew that that wasn't what he was doing, and we got to ask him today to finally set the record straight what he was doing.
Yeah, he was doing there's a triple D, some Dirty Dallas down or something like that. It's a geographic, reference to, here's a kid from North Dallas in McKinney, and he said normally you kind of do it sideways, but he said I did it down, but he said I would never put down my home state. He talked about that famous Texas USC game in the Rose Bowl in 2006, and he said, hey, I love Reggie Bush, but I was rooting for Texas to win. And he said didn't have to go to school the next day, and he figured out what the Rose Bowl was all about, as a little kid. But he said no. He said I would never do that. That's not me. But I know that that's something that some of the people in Texas are talking about. But he said all I ever talk about is Whataburgers. He said I'm the proudest guy in the world about Texas. He said he wished the game was played in Texas. So he's not doing that.
You mentioned Rojo and the Texas game. I mean, we've been asking other players and coaches the significance of this game coming up, and so it's kind of a mixed bag. Some players are like, I was too young, I don't really remember, and then guys like Stephen Mitchell, he cried for the game. So there is some meaning for some players and not so much on the other hand.
Yeah, I mean, again, as Rojo said, he was a big Reggie Bush fan, so that was his first person that he was crazy about, but he also rooted for Texas, and they didn't have to go to school the next day. He said, I think that's how I remember it. But and he would love. He said, I kind of wish the game was back in Texas. Clay, we were just talking about that. Clay said, I really like it that the game is in the Coliseum in Los Angeles, California. And everybody on this team, the one thing we keep hearing is how much energy they take from the crowds. And last week, 77,000, not maybe as many as you would have hoped for. The first week wasn't an absolutely great crowd of 61,000 or whatever in that heat. But these guys have kind of bonded with the crowd and vice versa. So I think the thing that they're really excited about is you're going to have a sellout. And that makes them, they really, this is more than a lot of USC teams. These guys talk about the crowd and how they feed off the crowd, and we haven't heard that in a while. And I thought the crowd Saturday stayed to the end. They were in every play. They were excited about every play. They were, as much into the game as the players were. That was pretty cool to see. So looking forward to that Saturday, and I know Clay Helton is.
Mm-hmm. All right, that's going to wrap it up for Tuesday practice for Texas Week. For Dan Weber, I'm Keely Eure. For more, check out uscfootball.com.